Another guy that I know feels it, my former teammate at the Brigham Young University, fantastic running back with the Cougars, and the father of one Smith Snowden, the great corner from the University of Utah, joins us now. Will, how you doing?
Oh, wonderful. It's wonderful to hear your voice and to be online, to be live with you.
Well, it's nice to have you on with me, Will. And I was just talking about the energy across the state, buddy. And I know you keep up with those Cougars because it's near and dear to your heart. And I know you are absolutely with the U of U right now because your son's playing on that team. But are you feeling the energy in this state right now with these two football teams?
Well, yeah, I mean, energy is a nice thing to call it. I think that, I sit around and, I stay busy, dealing with my business and trying to help coaches see the light of the alpha players. So obviously we're really connected at both schools, at all the schools in the state. So I love seeing guys succeed and play at a high level. But what a great time to be in the state of Utah. But the energy, I feel the tension in the air. I can feel it with the fan bases. I think the players are enjoying themselves. They're playing hard. They're giving the fans what they deserve, hard play, and a lot of winning. What's that between the two teams? What, BYU has 10 already? Yep. 9 already, 9-1, and Utah's 8-2. So that's 17 wins just in state between those two. Bronco seems to be making some moves up that way, but the real energy that I'm feeling is that BYU Utah situation, and everyone trying to figure out what it will take for Utah to get in if you're a Utah fan, and what it takes for BYU, and what a lot of pressure on these coaches and these players, man. It just really is. But this is why you play the game. This is why you dream to get to this level of football. And the next 2 weeks are going to be quite exciting to watch.
Will Snowden, former BYU running back, he is the owner and operator of Alpha Recruits, does a fantastic job helping kids go from high school to the next level. He's been doing that for a lot of years. I know you work with a lot of family members, and I know Dre's involved. I know Christian works with it, but Alpha Recruits, how long I know that you've been doing this for a long time. How long has Alpha Recruits been around?
We've really been doing this about 13 years now, full-time, aggressively for the last 7 years. And it's been fun. I'll tell you, the changes are just,
they're drastic.
It's drastic. We've dealt with it with me working with Rock, and it's such a drastic change in how colleges are recruiting kids. But it's been a long time, and we're still kicking. And I've been on the phone for the last hour, bugging Boise State and Utah State and Idaho State and Idaho and Southern Utah and Sac State and USC. It's been a crazy morning, but we're trying to make things happen, and hopefully some good things happen for my guys. But they've worked hard and trying to get to the next level.
Just so everybody understands, Will's got plenty of placed players on BYU and Utah, as well as Utah State and others across the board. So I know that this means a lot to you in regards to these players. And Will, my hope for bringing you on today, amongst this tension and this anxiety, is to try to bring a little taste of humanity to these players, because these kids are individuals, man. These kids are still trying to do their classwork. They're still trying to live a social life. They're still trying to do their work. What kinds of pressure are these kids under nowadays? Well, maybe in comparison to what you and I played under, where we didn't get NIL money. We didn't have general public pressure. We didn't have social media. Kind of spread some humanity to what these players are dealing with right now down the stretch.
Well, we live in such a ridiculous time, right? And that's from our political leadership, and I'm not talking one side or the other. Be clear, no one attack me. But if we want to live in reality, we're living in a crazed time, right? And then you have all of these experts in politics. There's an expert in everything. It's just some guy at his house who likes to watch CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC, and then talk about it and, be an expert on it. And that's what's happened a lot with football. You have a lot of these football experts really attacking kids. And that's the thing. Like, I get it, but it's very strange for me because I played the game at a high level. I've coached the game at a high level. I've had multiple my sons have been high-level football players. My father was a high-level football player. My brother was a high-level football player. Those guys played in the NFL. And you don't see a lot of players getting on here trying to trash players, right? And it's just kind of funny. I see these tweets and people attacking people like you. And before I even do that, I want the public to hear this from Will Snowden. Yes, I do like Scotty more than you. I do. But as far as the profession, there is no one in the world better at what they do than you. The way you're able to break down the film, the way you're able to actually talk about this game, particularly football, it's like it's really poetry. It's really nice to hear someone be fair with all the schools and tell the truth about football, because that's what this is really about. It's about football, evaluating the talent, evaluating the play calls on both sides of the ball, special teams, and I just love to listen to you and learn from you. And this is no joke. You do an exceptional job, and I want you to know it. But as far as the humanity of the kids, the pressures, they're getting paid. The second pressure is you have more media attacks than you ever have. I mean, it's funny. This last weekend I was at the game and pulled up my Twitter real quick on a break, and I think Smith had got beat for a catch or something, and people are like, "This kid sucks. He's the worst." And it's like, guys, wow. I don't know if they're real and I do think they're real because they probably don't understand that. When you play DB, someone's going to catch the ball. I mean, that's part of it. Just like you want your quarterback to throw it to your receiver. These things happen. They practice too. So I really think that the humanity, it's really sad for the kids. You have people tweeting at you, tagging you, and telling you you're a terrible person. My son gets these terrible DMs from people. I mean, it really is a disgusting time to be an athlete, but also the greatest time to be an athlete. So you got to take the good with the bad, and that's what I think the kids are doing. But they are under a tremendous amount of stress, and they're under the biggest spotlight you could even imagine being on. And I like to think of these people, you're fat and out of shape, and eating your burgers and your fries and your chicken wings. You got chicken wing juice running down the side of your mouth, and your phone is dirty, and you're deciding to attack these college kids who are just trying to make a name for themselves and trying to make you happy. So it's an interesting time, but I think the kids are handling it well. I have a lot of kids. I do a lot of NIL negotiations for kids and contracts for kids, and so I think they're learning a lot. I think they'll be a little bit more mature than we were when they graduate as well, because they've dealt with more things, especially if they're getting the right type of counsel.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great point. They will be definitely more versed in dealing with all kinds of things. So, Will, you and I kind of have to hear the noise. It's part of our business. You working with kids, me working with the media. And, I definitely feel when somebody misconstrues a segment and goes crazy on me, I feel those things. And we hear a lot of it. Do these football players hear all the noise, or are they able to shut these things out?
I think that there's just no possible way to shut it all out. I mean, the only way you can is not have a cell phone in 2025 and not have any social media in 2025, which is, you're kind of the nerd kid if that's, you're not the kid. I mean, they hear it. They understand it. Or someone else is showing it, or, families are upset and fighting, and then all of a sudden you see the kid sees the family fighting. I just don't think you can shut it out. So they have to be really mentally strong to deal with with really a bunch of eyes judging you. But they do have to realize that most of these people tweet or post about you under a fake name, right? They're not willing to come out as who they are and say, hey, this is who I am and this is what I'm saying, because, in a court of law, they would get convicted every time, because most of the time they have no idea what the heck they're talking about. So I'm just stressing to the to the fans of all fans, and it doesn't matter if it's from Utah or BYU, Utah State. Everyone loves to armchair coach, armchair quarterback. They have all the answers, and most of them didn't play at a high level. They have no idea what it's like to have, millions of people watching you play a sport against other players who are very highly talented, who they've worked their tail off to get to where they are. So this is a real battle that these kids are facing. But as far as their ability to block it out, it takes a special type of kid to be able to lock that out.
My heart goes out to those beautiful players, man, and what they fight through. And it's incredible that, you're sitting with 2 losses at Utah, 1 loss at BYU, and you still feel and hear and sense the criticism, and it just feels like these kids, man, they're put in such a tough spot. And I get it. Nobody out there is feeling sorry for them anymore, Will, because people out there think that every one of these college kids is making $100,000 plus. And I do want to say that's definitely not the case. The money is really across the board is different everywhere with every single player. All right.
And without a doubt,
go ahead.
And without a doubt, sorry to cut you off. I do think that they, and at the end of the day, a lot of these guys are making a ton of money. But what does that mean? I mean, you make a ton of money at your job, or people make a ton of money, but people aren't going around knowing that you're not that good at your job, or when you make a mistake at your job, they're not calling you a loser or a bum or whatever these guys want to call you. So it really is sad for the kids because they really are kids. Most of them, these guys are 18 to 22 years old. Brains aren't even fully developed, and you want to tear them down that way. But it's a sad thing, but also just part of what makes this sport great is, guys can really get invested, and, they buy the jerseys and they buy the tickets and they want to support their team, and sometimes they go too far with their investment as far as emotionally losing it. So it's been fun, though. I mean, what a great year. And there's so much to talk about. 2 things. Utah has been exceptional. Brigham Young has been exceptional. The person I'm most excited about and impressed with this year is not Bear Bachmeier, because Bear has been exceptional. But I'm most impressed with Aaron Roderick. What he's been able to do consistently with this team, and most importantly with Bear. I think people take it for granted. Like he's put Bear in positions to really have him succeed at a high level. And my hat's off to him. He's done an exceptional job, and he deserves a lot of respect from not just me, but everyone in the state, everyone in the country. It's been impressive, and that's all I can say about it.
Yeah, it's been really impressive. And I was just watching the Texas Tech game again last night because my brain can't help but think forward, Will. So I'm looking forward, and I should be looking at Cincinnati. I have watched a lot of Cincinnati film, too. I watched the Cincinnati-Arizona game as well this morning. So I am doing my homework, but I can't help but do a little bit of forward thinking. I'm looking back at that BYU Texas Tech game. I went and watched it again. What Aaron Roderick was trying to do was protect Bear Bachmeier at all costs. Now, he left max protection in. L.J. Martin was chipping every out. There was a tight end that was staying in and blocking every out. They were giving Bear Bachmeier every opportunity to be able to release a ball or to find a gap to run through. Now, Texas Tech just happens to be so uniquely good that they were shoving the gaps full. But you are so right about Aaron Roderick. What he's built around Bear Bachmeier, how he's calling protections, calling games, calling quick routes, getting L.J. Martin working, and protecting Bear Bachmeier, it is a masterclass. It is a masterclass. You could give, I bet you could give 50 other offensive coordinators Bear Bachmeier as a true freshman, and they're not getting out of Bear Bachmeier what Aaron Roderick's getting out of Bear Bachmeier.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it really just comes down to vision. I mean, if you guys watch the concepts from last year to this year, it's all different concepts as well. What he was doing with Jake Retzlaff last year is not what he's doing with Bear Bachmeier this year. He was able to have a vision because I'll just tell you honestly, he had that vision as soon as he offered the kid. He did. Guys don't come in and become the number one at a Power 4 school within 7, 8, 9 practices. It doesn't happen that way. He had a plan, and he saw how Bear was the answer for them to go win this amount of games.
Wow.
And he deserves all the respect in the world for it. It was a masterclass in what he's done. I'm not like you. I don't get thinking too far ahead because I understand that this weekend BYU could lose to Cincinnati very easily, and Utah could lose to Kansas State very easily.
Two good teams, Will.
These guys are I mean, and all of a sudden you have a whole different conversation. I know it's a heartbreaking thing to even think about, but just like that, it can be gone. I've seen it happen year in and year out. We saw it happen last year. Utah has seen it where it's worked out well for them, where they got into the championship game and was able to win the championship game. So these guys literally have to take it minute by minute, hour by hour, and day by day, and stay focused on what the task is in front of you, because both of them could easily not be playing for a championship if they slip up. And these other guys want to win. Coaches are coaching for their jobs and other things. Players are playing for their contracts.
Yeah.
You
Kids are getting cut.
You've been in the NFL. You've been in the NFL. You understand what it is when a contract year is coming up. It's like, oh, dude, I want to make plays. I want to play hard. I'm trying to make my next contract a better contract. So it's changed college football has changed so much because a lot of these guys are, they're year to year on what they're going to get.
Right.
And some guys are literally playing for $40,000 that are starting for teams right now. And they're saying, okay, well, I want to increase my stock. Am I going to get into the portal, or is this school going to pay me what I feel like I deserve? So no game is to be taken for granted. So I'm not counting anyone into the championship until after game 12. And after that, then I'll have some excitement for BYU or for Utah, or it might be for, some other schools sneaking in because other schools didn't take care of what they needed to. Yep. So I'm not going to get ahead of myself. I'm focused on Arizona. I'm focused on Kansas State and focused on Cincinnati this week for BYU and Utah.
So you had an up-close and personal look at this Cincinnati team going against that Utah team. Utah handled them, man. Disgraced them, embarrassed them, destroyed them. When you look at this Cincinnati team, now BYU on the road, Utah had Cincinnati at home. When you look at this Cincinnati team, give me a couple of areas you feel like BYU could possibly have an advantage on Cincinnati.
Well, I think that in the trench, I think in the offensive trench, BYU is going to have a big advantage. I think that they're going to be able to handle Cincinnati's fronts. So I do think they'll be able to get it rolling, running the ball, which is going to be key. I expect Cincinnati to say, okay, let's load the box and try and stop the run and see if these receivers really do have the ability to be one-on-one receivers. That would be the knock on BYU. Not saying they don't have great receivers, but
that's where they're going to get tested.
Yeah, but that's the test that you want to say, okay, these are zone route runners, right? They will kill you in zones, and also that we want to see if Bear Bachmeier can throw the ball accurately into tight windows, right? So I expect them to say, come up, let's press them, let's be really aggressive with them on the outside. But the question is, will BYU be able to move that line of scrimmage and let LJ and these guys get running downhill? But more importantly than LJ, can Bear Bachmeier get running downhill? Because when he's most effective when he can get running downhill using that big body and putting pressures on the defense. So I think up front they're going to have an advantage. I don't think Cincinnati's fully healthy on their D-line. So I would expect Roderick's going to come in with some aggressive, running the ball at them, a lot of speed option at them, attacking the edges, and then taking his shots when he feels it's time. The biggest thing for BYU is to start fast in this game. The only thing that scares me about BYU getting out of this game being a loss is if they fall behind early. Right, Cincinnati is not a team you want to fall behind because Sorsby is dangerous, very dangerous. He can throw the ball well, but he's really dangerous when he takes off and runs. And so the good news for Brigham Young is they have one of the best DCs in the country. I expect him to spy them with those backers, confuse them with pressures, But I do expect to see a really, really good game, and I'm calling it a 3 to 7 point victory for Brigham. So, but I don't think it's going to be, they're going to go in there and just spank Cincinnati, because I think Cincinnati's going to play with a lot of pride, and they're playing for a lot too. A lot is on the line for them. They are still in the hunt for the championship, and they're going to have a home crowd on a Saturday night. Should be quite interesting to watch.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. Getting on that flight tomorrow at 5:30, headed out to Ohio, and I'll tell you, this has been one of the craziest years ever. It's fun being in the booth and having a chance to call these games, but each and every game had such a unique character to it, and I know this one's going to have a very unique character. Last thing before we let you go, Will, tell me a little bit about this Utah football team. Like, what are these players and coaches' mindset? They're behind the eight ball. They need help in order to make it to that championship game. But where are they mentally getting ready for Kansas State and to finish out a 2-game season?
Yeah, I think they're, one of the things that these guys have been in this situation before, so I think that's nice. Kyle, a lot of these guys on the staff have been in this situation before. They've got into a championship through the back door before, right? But they understand what they need to do. I think the kids are super focused. I think they have a lot of respect for the league, right? They're not sitting here thinking, we should have, or what could have been. It's a mature group led by a lot of great leaders. Obviously, you have one of the best coaches in the country, in Kyle Whittingham, leading them. And I think they're focused and really committed to putting on a show each week, playing sound football, that physical brand of football that they play, and trying to beat up on the man in front of you. So I expect Utah to play well this weekend. I expect them to finish well, because I think they are super focused on the task at hand. And I think that they obviously are fighting for an opportunity to get into the playoff, regardless if they get to the championship or they don't. So it's going to be really interesting. And one thing, everyone attacks the committee. It's not easy being on that committee. I had to ask myself the real question: how would I do this? If I was on the committee, what would I be saying? Really, without any biases, as you evaluate the rosters, as you evaluate the games, as you evaluate the defenses, the offenses, there's so much to evaluate. And at the end of the day, us as fans forget this is a business, and it's a for-profit business. And these guys have a lot of different things that they're doing as they decide how to put together this playoff. And that those are with the at-larges that they're going to choose. So it's not the easiest thing in the world. I know it's easy for me as an armchair guy to sit back and say this is what it should be. But as you really evaluate everything, it gets really kind of grimy to figure out how this thing's going to go. So I'm trying not to think about it as much as I probably do. But the reality is it's going to be a great finish, and I'm glad to hear you on the call on Saturday night. And I can't wait to watch these 2 games this weekend. It's going to be quite fun.
Thanks for agreeing to do this without Scotty here. I hesitated to call. Yeah.
I went to prayer on it, to be honest. I had to see if, but Scotty understands what we have, and I really, to be honest, he shot me a text message and said, please, I know how it is, but please do it. And I said I would. So anyway, Hans, you do your thing, man. And I appreciate the zone. You guys do a great job. Keep on being great.
Well, I appreciate the Lord blessing me with Will Snowden. Thank you, brother.
Have a good day, bro.
All right. Will Snowden, former teammate of mine.